Bossov. I'm known to some of you, and to some we'll be meeting for the first time through this video. I'm here today to share with you a little bit about Yom HaShoah, the Jewish Holocaust Memorial Day. This day was established to coincide with what was the beginning of an uprising in the Warsaw Ghetto by the Jewish people confined there against their Nazi aggressors. This is established especially to show that there were Jewish people who were indeed trying to fight off their aggressors. Of course, in most cases, the Jews and all the other people who were the object of Nazi tyranny, including Russians and Poles, Catholics, Roma, Gypsies, homosexuals, people who were infirm, the mentally deficient. There were so many people who did not fit in the Nazi view of life. So Yom HaShoah brings forward the message of hopefulness and strength that was demonstrated by all who did their best to survive and not perish.
In dem Beis HaMikdash, in a Winkel Cheder, siehst die Almona Bas Zion allein. Ihr ben Jochel Yile Wigsig Seder und singt ihn zum Schlafen a Liedele schön. Nur weiß Ziegele, das Ziegele ist geworden handeln, mit Rosenkäse und Mandeln, das wird sein den Beruf.
One of the questions that remains forever relevant in discussing the Holocaust was, why specifically the Jews? Jews had been living in Europe since the days of the old Roman Empire, and in fact had been in Germany in particular for so long that there is a specifically Hebrew word for the German-speaking lands, Ashkenaz, which predated Germania or any other form of the name Germany. In fact, that's why so many Jews of Germany in particular couldn't understand why there would be such aggression against them, except for anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism had roots years and years before World War II. Of course, because of the biblical discussion and disagreement between the Jewish people of Jerusalem and Israel and the new Christian sect that arose following the teachings of Rabbi Joshua of Nazareth. And so, as anti-Semitism rose because of the story told in the New Testament, Jews were castigated in country after country for the role that they were described to have played during the Passion. There were many other reasons that caused conflict between peoples, and certainly these reasons kept the Jews confined to certain professions and certain areas of residence so that they could not mingle with other people, primarily Christians in Europe, and also after the downfall of the Caliphate, also within countries that formerly were part of the Muslim empire. And so through the years, there were difficulties. And of course, as nationalism broke out in Europe throughout the 1800s, it became abundantly clear that the Jews, who were a throwback to the historical times when a national people had their own God, and each country was represented by its version of the one God, that the Jewish people needed a homeland once again. And so this brought up new rounds of pogroms and other actions taken against the Jewish people, leading all the way into the 20th century.
In my own lifetime, I want to see the fighting cease. In my own lifetime, I want to see my sons enjoy the fruits of peace. While I'm still here, I want to know, beyond a doubt, that no one can lock us in or lock us out. We have climbed higher, much higher than I thought we'd climb. It's a long journey, and even though the end's in sight, there's not much time. I want to know we haven't built on sand in my own lifetime. In my own lifetime, I want to see our efforts blessed. In my own lifetime, I want to see the walls come down, and then I'll rest. This Moses wants to see the promised land in my own lifetime.
Another aspect of Jewish cultural history that would have led to disagreements and rough times with some of their host countries would have been the Jewish penchant for wanting to fix things in the here and now. Judaism does not have a dogmatic belief in the afterlife. This belief was not contained in the Holy Scriptures, but rather was added on afterward in the Proto-Rabbinic period around the same time that Jesus lived at the end of the Second Temple period. So for the Jewish people, starting with Moses, saying to someone as powerful as Pharaoh, "Let my people go. Go ahead, Pharaoh. Threaten your whole country's economy by letting go all the slave labor." That is the definition of the Yiddish word chutzpah. Imagine going to Pharaoh and saying, threaten your whole livelihood. And so that aspect of Jewish thought, the idea of not waiting for a heavenly time or a messianic time to fix the world, but to take care of things now. The urgency for now, to say to life, l'chaim, and to take care of those who are in need immediately. Not that other cultures and religions don't do that, but in Judaism it is the imperative, and it is the only imperative.
The the world goodbye. The very last, so richly, brightly, dazzling yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears could sing against a white stone. For 7 weeks I've lived in here, penned up inside this ghetto. But I have found my people here. The dandelions call to me, and the white chestnut branches in the court. Only I never saw another butterfly. The last, the very last, so richly, brightly, dazzling yellow. Perhaps if the sun's tears could sing against a white stone. Tumbala, 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 laika. Tumbala, 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 laika. Tumbala, laika, spiel balalaika. Tumbala, laika, freilich soll sein.
On Yom HaShoah, and particularly now as we are already into the 21st century, we acknowledge that most of the people who survived the Nazi concentration camps are almost dying out. And so it is especially poignant at this time to acknowledge all those who suffered and who endured, who lost so much, who experienced the destruction of Jewish culture, the rich Jewish culture of Europe, and who had to find a new way at the end of World War II to figure out how they fit into the world. Where could they go? For their homes were by and large demolished and destroyed throughout Europe. Where would they go? What would they do? What would happen to the Jewish people overall? And so we dedicate ourselves today to honoring those people who survived, who were refugees because of the aggression, many of whom went on to help found the new country of Israel in 1948. Many came to the United States, considered to be a golden Medina, the land of golden opportunity. Many settled elsewhere in the world as well.
Be'eretz שלא ייגמר לעולם. החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ורק השמיים, תפילת האדם. החול והים, רשרוש של המים, ורק השמיים, תפילת האדם. Oh Lord my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
We dedicate ourselves to the renewal of life for all people, following the catastrophes of World War II, the dropping of nuclear weapons, the concentration of so many people who were deemed undesirable by the Nazis, the sacrifices made by our country and others to help the war effort, and all of those lost in the struggle. We honor them and memorialize them forever. And so, as we conclude our program today, as spring has begun and the earth has renewed its promise of new life, let us all be aware and be compassionate toward others. Let us help build a world of peace where all people can equally share God's goodness and blessings. May all of us forever be united as one human family, dedicated to God's service and building a world where all can feel loved. Thank you.
Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.